Finally, we are going to see how to display our quiz on UI. So what I want, as soon as I click on the start quiz, I just want to display current question. And based on that, whatever options I have given, I just want to display all the options here. And also, I want to display current question. So as of now, let us imagine our current question is present at 0th index. Why? Because inside this array, we are having 10 questions and we have our index which is starting from 0. So now first what we will do, we are just going to render our first question. All the question we are not going to display at the same time. Instead, after answering the first question, only then we are going to proceed with the next question. So that is the reason, as of now, we are only going to display the first question. Later, as soon as I click on the next button, I have to move to next question. So here we are having index 0 until index 9. I am having all these numbers, and based on this index, I am having different question data. Now what I want, if I select index 0, then that particular question and options will be displayed. If I select index 1, then question and options will be displayed. So here what I am doing, based on this index number, we are rendering our screen. So what we have to do, this variable we have to pass as a state. I will come to app.js. This is our initial state. Inside this, I will be passing another property and I will assign the value as 0. You can give any names for the properties, but here I have given index and for that I have assigned the value 0. Why I am passing inside state variable? Later on, if I change value to 1, whatever question I am having inside index 1, that question has to be displayed. So each and every time, based on this index value change, I am updating my screen and I am displaying different data. So basically, I am just doing re-render of my screen. So that is the reason this index has to be passed inside initial state. So once it is done, second step, from this state, we have to destructure our index. Here, separate by comma, and here I am going to write index. Now below this, I am just going to log index, save it, come here, refresh once, inspect. Now you can see successfully I am able to access 0. So whatever value I have given inside this state, that value will be displayed. Now what I want, this question, whatever we have passed inside our API, that question I have to display on my UI. Let me come here, close it. As soon as I click on the start quiz, my status will be activated and now I am inside this question component. So my question has to be displayed inside question component and all the options has to be displayed inside option component. And my entire array of data is stored inside this quiz question. So this quiz question I'm just going to pass as my prop. And we have already destructured. So I'm just going to copy. And this is our question component. Here I will pass is equal to, here I'm just going to pass that prop. Why I am passing this? Because this quiz question will be having our entire array of objects. If you want to verify, you can just open components, app. Here you can see I am having reducer and initially once I have loaded the data, my quiz question is updated and inside that I am having entire array of object. This entire data is present. But as soon as I click on start quiz, my status is active and again inside this quiz question, I am having this entire array of object. So now this data I have passed to my question prop. Why? Because inside that component, I want to display question. And also we are having all this option. First, I'm going to copy and I will open this question component and inside that I'm just going to accept my prop. But here what happens if I pass quiz question, entire data will be passed. But I do not want to pass entire data. Instead, I only want to render first question on my screen. So for that, Here while passing, I will be giving index 0. So here I am passing index. Why? Because our quiz question is nothing but array, and from that array I'm just going to access first question. So that is the reason I have passed index, which means quiz question of 0. It is going to give me first object. Now I will come to quiz question. I have accepted the prop. Now here I will write log quiz question. Refresh once. As soon as I click on start quiz, now you can see successfully I am able to access first question, which is having index 0. Now from this object, I just want to access my question. So here I will remove this entire thing. Instead, I am just going to write my object name, that is quiz question dot question. From that object, I just want to access this question. And how this quiz question became object? Because from this array, we are accessing zeroth index, and inside zeroth index, we are having object. So we have accessed the object, and here we are simply displaying our question. I will remove this console, and also from app.js, I'm just going to remove this console. Save it. Now if you see here, let me just decrease the size. As soon as I click on start quiz, successfully I am able to access the first question what is present inside this zeroth index, and I am able to display here. Same thing. Now here I will just change the index to 1. Come here, click on this. You can see now I am having the question which is present inside that first index. So successfully we have accessed the question and we have displayed on screen. Now what I want, whatever options I am having inside this object, I just want to render that object on screen. So first let me come here. I will change it to 0. Save it. Refresh once. Click on this. I am having my first question. Let me open. And now inside this, I just want to display this option. And this option is nothing but array. So what we can do, we can loop through this array. But before that, inside this question.js, we are having access to this question, which is nothing but an object. Now inside that object, we are having option. So again, this quiz question, we have to pass as a prop. Here I will be passing. Now I will open this file, and inside this we are just going to accept this quiz question. So now using this I will be having access to entire object, and inside this object we are having all these properties: correct answers, ID, options, points and question. So successfully I have accessed my entire object, but in this object I only want this options property, which is nothing but array. So here I will be using JavaScript mode. I will be writing my object, and from that object I want to access my options array. So this is going to return me array. Then I will be using map method, and here I am going to pass callback function. Here I will write option arrow function. Now inside this I am just going to copy all the buttons, and here I will be pasting. Let me remove entire thing. But while using this map method, we do not have to pass multiple buttons. Instead, what we will do, we are only going to pass first button, because how many elements we are having inside the array, that many times we are going to loop using this map method. Now I will save it. Come here, you can see each and every time option 1 is displayed. Why? Because 4 times my map method will be looped, and whatever content I am having, that will be displayed. Now this option will be holding our values. So here I am just going to pass option. Why? Because this is our array. Inside that we are having 4 elements. Let me show you. I will open this db.json. Inside this I am having keys, refs, state and props. First time option will be holding keys. Keys will be displayed. Second time it will hold this. Third time it will hold this. And fourth time it will hold this. And accordingly 4 options will be displayed inside this button. Now I am going to save. Come here, you can see successfully I am able to display all the options. And whenever we are using map method, we should always pass the key. And this key has to be unique. So here I will be writing option because options are different in each and every question. So here I am passing option. Again I will refresh. Click on start button. Successfully I am able to access my first question, and whatever options I am having inside that question, I am able to render that option as well. Now here inside this app.js, if I change it to 4, click on this now. So whatever question and options I am having inside fourth index, that value will be displayed. Let me come here. This is 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. You can see which property holds data in a React component. Same question will be displayed, and whatever options we are passing, accordingly that options will be displayed. Okay, let us see what we have done. First, here let me change it to 0. Here we have created one property inside the state. Why? Because whenever we are clicking on next button, we are going to re-render our screen. So that is the reason each and every time we have to update this index value. So here inside this state, we have passed the index value, and here after that we have destructured from state. And now on each and every render, I just have to display one question. So what I will do, using this prop, I'm just passing this first element from my array. So here inside this prop, I'm just passing first element from the array, and this index is 0. So it will be having first element from the array, and this question will be accepted inside this question, and I'm just going to render question. Now this is our entire object. So that object we have to pass inside this options as well. Why? Because in that object itself we are having all the options. Then we are going to accept the prop, and using this map method we are going to loop through this array, and we are displaying all the options on our UI.